Hey, this is Dwayne Smith for AthensTennis.com. Today I want to talk a little bit about winning with percentage tennis. Maybe there's been times in your life when you've played a match and during the warm-up you felt like, gee, I'm as good as this player, I have a good chance of winning this match, or I should win this match, and when the match is over you don't. And sometimes you're watching on TV and they talk about a player that's just finds a way to win, or a player that's very smart, or that seems to have percentage tennis on his or her side. And there's sort of 10 things I want to talk about today that can maybe help you increase your chance of winning those close matches against players that are of equal ability or maybe slightly better than you. The first thing I want to talk about is hitting the ball cross court. The cross court's the easy shot. It's kind of like the layup in basketball. You're closer, it's easier to make. And the reason the cross court's the easy shot in tennis is you're going over a low part of the net. The net is 6 inches lower in the center than it is out by the alleys, so you're hitting over a lower net, which is easier. You're also hitting to a longer court. If you go from baseline to baseline down the sideline, the court's 78 feet long. But if you go diagonally from corner to corner, you have about 4.5 extra feet. So now the court is significantly longer. So a ball that you hit out by a foot or two down the line would clearly be in had it been hit cross court. And the third reason the cross court is an easier shot is your opponent can do less with it. He or she has to hit the ball back in your general direction, so you don't have to run as much to retrieve their return shot on a cross court ball. The second thing that winning players do is they clear the net by several feet usually. They give some air to the ball. And probably the best and easiest way to do that is with topspin. You want to have that low back swing and come up through the ball and hit behind it. And that generates that topspin, which gives the ball some air. You're hitting up into the air with it, so it clears the net by 2, 3, 4 feet. But it also has enough spin to bring it down, to curve the ball down into the court. So good players tend to develop topspin on a lot of their shots and hit topspin on a lot of their shots. A third thing that players do is they try to reduce their errors. Now, I know that's easier said than done, making a mistake, but basically there's a saying in tennis that says most matches are lost, not won. And what they mean by that is that usually the person who makes the most errors, unforced errors, loses the match. It's not usually the person that hits the most winners necessarily that wins the match, but you got to look at both of those statistics, and cutting down on your errors is a great thing to do. If you're going to hit an approach shot, especially in singles, make sure you hit that shot down the line. You want to keep that ball in front of you. And the reason for that is it's much, much easier to pass if you go cross court. It sort of opens up the angles for the passing shot in singles. Of course, in doubles, you generally do approach cross court because you have a net player in front of you. The other thing that players need to learn is that not every volley, the first volley necessarily, can be the winner. If it's a high volley offensive, yeah, it might can, but a lot of times people are too quick to try to hit winners on volleys. Sometimes you need to make 2 or 3 volleys before you get the opening and you get the opportunity to hit a winner. Another thing these players learn is to get that first serve in. On television, a lot of times they'll give the stats for the service, and usually the players that are playing good get about 70% of their first serves in. So you and I should try to do that as well. And that might mean taking some speed off your serve. A lot of people get up there and they just want to kill that first serve, and then they figure, well, I got a second serve if I missed my first. But the problem is you're on offense with the first serve. You've got your opponent on their heels, and you're basically in an offensive position and they're in a defensive position. But the minute you miss that first serve, everything switches. Now they're on offense and you're on defense. So if you can get that first serve in a lot more often, it puts you in a better spot. The other thing that these players that tend to win a lot can do is they can lob. The lob is a shot that some people aren't good at or don't feel comfortable doing or don't like to hit, but really the lob is a great shot, especially when you're in trouble. If your opponent hits a deep ball on you, they've got you on the run, a ball with a lot of pace that you can't do much with, throwing up a deep defensive lob towards the middle of the court is a great way to kind of get back in the point and give yourself time to recover back to the middle of the court. The other thing that players need to think about when they're playing matches and they're hopefully trying to win these close ones is you want to play your strengths and you want to attack your opponent's weakness. Now remember, all players have a weakness. Even the pros on TV, there's certain shots that they don't hit well, and you need to identify that quickly against your opponent. During the warm-up, see where their weakness might be. During the first few games of the match, you should be able to see that. Maybe, a lot of people don't hit good backhands. Maybe they don't volley well, try to get them up to the net. Maybe they don't move or run well, drop shots, moving them side to side. So see if you can find that weakness on your opponent and make sure you make most of your shots in that direction. And the other thing is keep the ball deep. Good things happen to you when the ball is deep, and bad things happen to you when you hit a short ball. Anytime you hit a short ball, you're giving your opponent an offensive situation where they can do a lot with the ball, hit winners, hit good angles and stuff on you. So if you can keep that ball, within a foot or two of the baseline, that's a much tougher shot for your opponent to deal with. And the last thing that these players sometimes do is they play smart on big points. And I know every point's a big point, you think, and it's nice to win every point, but really when you're at deuce, that's a big point. When you're at add, for you, or more importantly against you, that's a big point. When it's tiebreaker and it's 4-4 in tiebreaker, that's a big point. So you want to be a little more conservative at that time. You want to not go for quite as much. Keep the ball in play. See if you can draw an error on that part. So that's not the time to go for a big serve or ace. If you're up 40-love, maybe you go for a big shot or an ace. But when it's real tight in the game or in the tiebreaker, you want to play conservative. Hopefully some of these ideas can help you win that close match in the future. Dwayne Smith, AthensTennis.com. Get out there and hit some tennis balls. See you next time.